China in 1953 was similar to the United Kingdom in about 1650. It was, first of all, had been badly affected by the Japanese War, by its civil war, and was ravaged by poverty, by illiteracy. It was a country without roads. The railway links were very few and far between, and they had none of the modern aspects of a state, none at all. So they were trying to, the 48 group people as they became, were trying to bring some reason and some organization into this whole process. They were dealing with Chinese who themselves were trying to organize what they had a vision of, which was good quality export goods at reasonable prices. We're dealing with a world that was getting ready for a confrontation with the Soviet Union and its allies. At that time, we're dealing with a period, the McCarthy trials were beginning in America, the Korean War was going on. There were many who viewed these people as traitors. So they had a lot of opposition. The Chinese were interested only in rebuilding their country. They had no agenda. They wanted to buy goods and they wanted to sell goods for the purpose of building their country. People in business are still not sure today how real the prospect of the China market is. They're going to quadruple their economy in the next 18 years. They're going to quadruple their foreign trade in the next 18 years. The level of investment in China is now greater than that into the United States. What is much more interesting is they know what they're going to do and they know how they're going to get there. They know what it requires. They will reorganize their industrial economy over the next 5 to 7 years in a way that even people in the West do not begin to understand. That's what the icebreakers have given us. That film was made 10 years ago, and I think our understanding in the 48 group of where China was and where it was going to go was pretty spot on. It's not by chance, and it's not because we're super bright, but it's because we specialize and focus on China, and we don't look at China through prejudiced eyes. We're neither pro-China nor anti-China. So what is our message today on the 60th anniversary of the 48 group? It is that what we have to focus on is socialism with Chinese characteristics. This is what contains all the content of what China is going to be like that they're unfolding now. It means a market economy with strategic shareholders and with regulators to make sure that the range of that market economy is kept within the resources and the targets of that nation. There is within that now a recognition in China that they can allow foreign shareholders to hold a significant stake in various market sectors without fearing that their country is going to go out of control. They think they know how to manage the foreign participation without being able to have to hold the numbers down. So understanding what this means in terms of the strategic shareholders, what type of companies they're going to have with what agenda, is what we've got to learn about. It's an enormous subject to absorb in one level. On another level, it's quite simple. For example, major Chinese companies are not concerned with quarterly profits. Major Western companies are concerned with quarterly profits. So what is in the minds, the priorities of the leaders of China, of business sectors, is different from ours. But the differences are not irreconcilable. You just have to work out how to marry them together to meet long-term objectives. You take the welfare state. The concern of providing social justice for the people is as close to the people in the West as it is to the people in China. But in China, they're looking at our welfare state that was put on the taxpayer and that's bloated and out of control. And they're saying, that's not how we're going to do it. We're going to learn from the Western experience. The cost of the welfare state is going to be borne substantially by business, substantially by individuals, and the government will be there as a provider of last support, a very different philosophy. Well, that's a rather simplistic explanation of it, but isn't there a lot for us to gain from each other? We've got our National Health Service, which we spent 50 years developing a lot of very good technical skills and operational mechanisms that the Chinese will want to take advantage of. We may also want to take advantage of understanding the different ways of funding the welfare state. The Chinese are not going to say to the companies, you can have an IPO, you can list, and you can then go from being a state-owned enterprise to a profitable company by laying off thousands of workers and putting the cost on the taxpayer. The Chinese are going to say, you make those changes, but you find the employment for those people. So here's the nub of it. Socialism with Chinese characteristics and responsible capitalism are not as far apart as people think. But the changes that are going to happen in China over the next 5 or 10 years towards a market economy with strategic shareholdings, with powerful regulators, if we grasp it, if we really understand it, the UK can be at the forefront of the business opportunities that it creates, and we will have as much benefit from understanding the concepts as we will from the business opportunities that flow. The message for me about this is that a group of businessmen and women took the risk to travel 7,000 miles to understand the visions of a fledgling country. And great prosperity has been built on that work. We can do that again and take the time now to understand what is going to happen over the next 50 years in China.